Welcome to the Music Makers Lounge, where we interview bands for their recipes for success. I am Brandon.
I'm Sean.
And today we are meeting with Perfect Strangers. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Hello. I'm Aidan. How you doing?
I'm Colin. How's it going?
Beautiful.
I don't know where to look. There we go.
Oh yeah, probably should have said your guys' camera's right over there. We might be new at this lounge.
Yeah.
Welcome to the first episode.
Yeah, this might be a little bit of a rough start. This is the first time that we're actually meeting with someone to interview them more casually. That's what our goal is for this segment, just to talk to some bands locally, far away, doesn't matter. We just want to hear what you guys are doing, what you guys are succeeding at, and everything in between. So yeah, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having
us, for sure.
This is definitely gonna be the one we look back on and I'll cringe. So
100%. Thank you for being the
stuff out.
I like being the guinea pig.
Yeah, thank you for being the guinea pig. So we super appreciate it. So so tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Yeah, better place to start than the start.
Yep.
Yeah, we started making music together back in 2020. Kind of just started as we were messing around with covers and stuff, and then started making our own stuff in about 2021. In 2022, we got the rest of a band together. We picked up another guitar player, a bassist, and then about a year ago, picked up a drummer. So we've been playing gigs for about a year now. Been going pretty hard at it. So
right on.
Yep.
Right on. That's great. That's
What
great.
kind of stuff? So like, what's the genre? What kind of stuff you're playing?
yeah, like alternative rock stuff.
Okay.
I feel like our sound has changed quite a bit. Just naturally as we listen to different things and find different things. It started off with a little more funkiness into it. Now we're kind of going down like the hard rock metal rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So,
The
it's
natural evolution.
Yeah, and
every band.
it was something I was always kind of like worried about. Like, we need to like have a sound, but I kind of like just making it. Every few months when we get stuff done, our visions change. What we're listening to changes. So it's kind of just been a natural change of pace. But overall, I'd say our catalog is still relatively similar to each other. So when we're putting together shows and stuff, it's pretty easy to come up with set lists.
Yeah. Right on.
Definitely. And I think like, at least for us, playing live shows is something we didn't really have access to in like our first year. It was just like me and him
You started
recording
2020,
tracks,
right?
Yeah.
mixing and releasing the music. And so it's like, it's hard to build a following and figure out what people want to hear live when you're not playing live. So
right.
definitely the last year has helped us to kind of figure out like what direction we want to take our sound in. And I feel like we're kind of finding that like some of our heavier tracks hit a little harder live or a little more fun to perform. But still the funky stuff. So it's there's definitely a spectrum.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. I have a couple questions for you guys. First of all, can you kind of describe, I know this is going to be kind of tough. We just talked about it, but can you kind of give our audience a little bit of a taste of like who you might be like tangentially related to in terms of sound? Is there like somebody you would relate yourself to having an aura-esque kind of vibe?
I feel like at least for me, a lot of like the instrumental writing that I do, I feel like I tend to associate it with like Rise Against, Green Day, Linkin Park, any of like the 90s, 2000s, punk rock bands. I don't know, because we all kind of listen to different stuff, so you probably will have a different answer than me. But
I mean, it's like funny for me too, because usually the people coming up with the instrumentals for our music are like Colin, Tyler, and Nate and Antonio, and like all from that like instrumental background. And for me, it's like I'm constantly changing like how I want to write and sing, because I'm like seeing like artists and shows that like are like, oh, that's cool, or like that's sexy, I want to sound like that. Like recently, and I'd say like the most dominant presence, at least in like the way I try and carry myself in performance, and I just saw him the other day at Little Caesars, is Deftones is like a huge, I know a million, totally a cliche, but I love Deftones.
No, sure.
They just have so much swag on stage, and I think Chino has a lot of swag as a vocalist. So I feel like, but also I'm starting to get to that point, like with my music, where I'm listening to a lot of metal. So that's kind of inspiring the way I write.
I mean,
so you brought up, you just mentioned that like not only what you listen to affects it, but the shows you go to affect it as well. Do you think like, now that you're performing more live and getting more experience with seeing what people react to and all that, does how people react to certain songs carry over to the songwriting process for future projects?
Yeah.
And what you see by performance, that you're taking that into account when writing, because you want it to, I'm assuming that you want it to hit when you do perform it.
Definitely. And like one thing
how's that process then?
we didn't like really ever do before, because we never really had the chance, was playing songs live before we record them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been kind of cool to do that because we're able to, in between shows, kind of go, okay, so maybe let's do this instead. Or like, right now we're working on a few different songs, and we're kind of able to take what we learned from performing one song to how we want to write the next one. So it's kind of been a yin and yang of, you know, I always try to approach, like I had typically approached my writing from a very like studio recording, like this is how it's going to sound done. But now it's kind of been a lot more of, okay, how is this going to hit live? How can we structure these parts that way everyone is doing something different that complements each other, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine that's you're going to get some cool results from that because you are actually seeing, oh, this gets an energetic response.
Exactly,
I can see and feel the response, so I know it's going to hit in the studio.
Exactly.
Because we've rehearsed it, we've changed it, and now it's just time to go in and knock it out.
Definitely.
Yeah. My question to you guys was going to be, how did your writing kind of change over time when you got people into the group?
Oh, yeah,
you know?
totally.
Because like I imagine like writing at one point, it was just very, it was you guys,
completely
you know?
different.
So,
we at its core, like we started with, he would write an instrumental and send it to me. I would write lyrics. We would come together and record it, and that's what it would be. Now we're at a point where there's like, our drummer's a great singer too, a great lyric writer, and very experienced. So he's helping with that, and also like just. I feel like everyone is contributing ideas now, which is different because obviously everyone has a particular style in which they write. You're just biased towards a certain type of writing. You're always going to write something that's like, might sort of sound like Green Day or something like that. Always has that taste to it. So it's cool. Like our drummer Tyler's came up with a few instrumentals for our new music, and it's completely different from, I think, anything that like we would have came up with.
Right on.
So it's allowed us to tap into a lot of, I guess I don't want to say new genres because that's really broad, but like new ways to spin off of what we're already doing. Which
New
is
combinations. You're all bringing in your unique part to it. So
Totally. And like, I think for me too, it was definitely a bit of adjustment because I was used to, you know, putting together guitar, drums, bass, doing all the parts. And like now getting to a point where everyone else is involved, like I still very much approach songwriting with, I put a whole song together. And then from there, it's like, okay, this is the vision. Let's go and everyone add their own kind of flair to it. It definitely took a little bit of adjusting to having other people in the songwriting process just because I was so used to doing it all by myself. But I like having other people in the process because especially with Tyler, our drummer, he has, you know, he's a great guitar player too. So we sit down with guitars and, you know, I might have something that he adds a little something to and vice versa. I feel like writing wise, we go very hand in hand with how we approach songs and how we approach kind of like structuring a song. So it's been a really great thing to have, you know, him in the writing process. Our other guitar player, Nate, he's very bluesy. He likes a lot of, you know, kind of that bluesy flair to it. Also really big into like that, you know, the Pantera kind of dime bag thing. So it's been really cool to have him kind of put his own spin on his parts and solos and stuff too.
Right on.
here's a quick pause to remind you that if you're enjoying the insights of today's episode, please click subscribe or follow us so that you're always in the loop as to what's happening at the Music Makers Cookbook.
And if you're loving what we're cooking up, a rating or review helps us reach more independent artists just like you. Thank you for listening to Music Makers Cookbook.
Now back to the show.
We've done some weird ways to write songs as well. Like I remember when we worked on our first album, which is like, looking back on it, I totally wouldn't have made an album. It was the first thing I did in music. I would have done like 12 singles and made it last way longer. But the more you know, everything's easier to say in retrospect. But we did a song once where I had just came up with it like a shower thought. And so we just recorded vocals a cappella and then wrote the guitar and bass into it, and then did the drums. So that was like, we've done some ass backwards writing too.
Definitely.
So we're willing to try anything.
That's cool though.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I mean, we've even had like, there's a period where Aidan would just, you know, go on BeatStars, find a beat, or go on YouTube. And it turned into, you know, a song. We really liked the idea of it. We bought the rights to it and then completely restructured the instrumental and changed it around. And that was a really kind of fun approach because it was like starting with somebody else's vision, but then putting our vision into it.
It's an interesting exercise, actually.
It was a cool challenge, and it was not something that I'd anticipated doing, but it came out really fun, and it was hearing like, I found a copy of like the original like beat that we downloaded, and it was so different. So it was cool to see the progression of it.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great practice for like just lyric writers in general to just constantly be writing down to other people's stuff. That helped me out a lot, I think.
Totally. I mean, I've gotten the pleasure to kind of see how you guys have written over time. Like, just for anybody listening, like, we've worked together on multiple different things, so I'm not going to sit here and hide it anymore. Like, I don't fucking know you, you know? So it's been really cool seeing how different your guys' sound has kind of evolved over time. And Colin will send me stuff and it'll be like, oh, what do you think about this? This is different from what I wrote. You know, I was like, oh, this is different from what you wrote, you know? And sometimes when like you'll send me something to master or something, like I'll be like, oh, have you thought about adding something like this? And then we'll throw that in there, like with the synths, you know, that one time, you know? And just very cool how, you know, everything has kind of manifested itself and how things have evolved, you know? And like I said, like coming from 2 people to now a full band, you know, I imagine that's got to be a very big change, you know? And obviously that changes a lot of different things. Not only does the sound change, but politics change, you know? It's like, oh, how do you become receptive to somebody not liking something, right? Or how do you deal with not liking somebody or not liking something of somebody else's? You know?
Exactly.
How do you guys
it's never easy.
How do you guys tend to navigate that and you know, mitigate potential conflicts for anybody that's in a band?
How many iterations does it usually take? How many ideas do you shoot down?
I think, you know, typically, like for the past couple songs, they've been instrumentals that, you know, I put together. I send it to the group chat, and then everyone kind of chips in their 2 cents. And it's very much of, you know, I was worried when we first brought in other members because it was very much like, okay, these are songs we've already written. This is what you're playing. Like, I didn't want to feel like it was just like we were hiring people for it. So now it's to where, you know, I send a song in the group chat, or Ty sends a song, or any one of us. And then from there, we'll kind of pitch in our ideas, we'll revise demos, but then we'll just sit down at practice with it and just kind of pick our way through it. And that's kind of when I'd say a bulk of the changes are made, or is going to be when we actually get around to playing it all as a group. Because that's when we can really feel how the changes are going to work, how the parts are going to be structured. And I don't know. I feel like in the past it was very much of, here you go, check it out. And I'm glad that now it's very open. We're all very, like, we don't really get protective of like our ideas. It's very much of, this is what I'm thinking. If you're thinking something totally different, that's fine.
So there's no fear behind putting out your idea and how we're received.
No.
Yeah. That's good. That's a healthy environment.
Yeah, I'd say to that point too. Like, you just have to be like friends first with your bandmates, I think, is a huge thing. Like, I'm a total people pleaser. Like, I don't like being told people don't like my ideas. I also don't like telling people I don't like theirs.
Yeah,
so,
I'm with you.
So you have to be like, building comfort and chemistry, I think, is so important. And it's like, at the end of the day, like, especially in modern music, like, a band is a brand, a band is a business. But like, at its roots, like, the same way when you go into the office at work or whatever you do, like, you have to be up to constructive criticism.
You have to understand how to approach conflict, and how to actually resolve something rather than just, you know, pushing it to the wayside.
We're not perfect by any means, but
it's tough to do. It's really tough to do.
Always learning and stuff. And,
Well, it actually brings up a question I wanted to ask was, you mentioned switching from just you two to the full band dynamic and how that's changed over time, from making that transition from the duo to the full group, and not just, hey, we're bringing you into what we do, but now incorporating it in the process. What's something that change has been easier than you anticipated, and what's something that's been more difficult than you anticipated?
Yeah, I mean, I think creatively it was a lot easier than I anticipated. I think it's been pretty fluid when we all, because I feel like we all share enough of common interest in styles of music and genres that we're able to find common ground. Now,
was this something that just was a happy kind of accident, or like were you careful picking the right people that you already knew would fit the vibe, or just maybe a mix of both?
Yeah, kind of a little bit of a mix of both. Our bass player, Antonio, we've known him for years. I've been playing music with him since we were in like the 7th grade. And, you know, throughout this whole time when Aidan and I were working on stuff, we would jam just at his little practice space. And so before there was even a sense of we're in a band together, we were already playing music together. So I think that was a pretty natural thing. And then with Nate, our other guitar player, we actually met him through a girl we went to high school with, his girlfriend. And he came to practice, and it was just like instantaneous, just, all right.
We're in now.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's you know, he was really good friends with our drummer Tyler, and he brought him in, and it was kind of the same deal. Everyone was just on the same page pretty fast. So
pretty seamless. Yeah, there's really never any like weird transitional period. It just kind of clicked immediately.
That is good.
I think. I mean, I think if anything, the hardest part and the most difficult part has just been finding time that we're all free. We all work different schedules. We have different school schedules, so trying to find enough time to write efficiently and to record and. You know, it was a goal this year to get more music out, and it's you know, it's admittedly been tricky just because we all have different schedules, and it's hard to always be able to find you know, time. Oh, you know, a day to just make content, a day to put together merch orders. You know, all these little things that would be really helpful. It's, you know, those kind of things end up kind of getting spaced out over time. To where we don't have full days where we're being productive all as a group.
Sorry.
I was going to ask, do you guys kind of like delegate that amongst each other?
That's what I was going to ask. Do you guys do it separate or do you do it? Okay.
Yeah. Do you guys have specific hats you wear outside of the music making and your positions, obviously within the band? Or is it kind of still like a conglomerate decision?
Yeah. I mean, I would say like, I definitely, for me, I handle typically like the production and engineering behind it. Aidan does like all the social media stuff. He's really good at that.
Looks really good.
And no, that's been a big help because that's not a world I don't know. You know, I don't know anything about that world. So, you know,
you guys have built a really like a unique, like your own kind of presence in terms of how you present yourself online.
So much more work than I have invested into actually like writing songs the last year.
Because it's a huge part of it. And
it is.
Doing those things gives us the exposure to be able to, you know, fund merch orders, fund going out of town for shows, you know, fund studio time. So it's a really important part of being in a band. You know, it's not just playing music as much as we all wish it was sometimes. There's a lot of other
I think a lot of people need to hear that. You know, you know, it's like it takes a lot more than just the music, and it always has.
Yeah,
you know?
honestly, I see a lot of artists on like Instagram and stuff getting shit for like posting the same reel a lot. And it's like sometimes I wonder, like, people, you don't get it. Like, you have to now.
Yeah, you have to.
It's the equivalent of hanging flyers.
Exactly.
Like, you have to do what works.
It's a great point. That's a great point.
Like thousands of songs get uploaded to Spotify a day if you're just expecting anyone to hear your music because you tossed it up there.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know if the numbers changed, but it was 40 to 60,000 a day.
40 to 60,000.
That's insane.
Yeah, your music's just getting buried.
Yeah,
like, think about how much work goes into making every song, and then like an album, and think about how many albums get uploaded a day and never heard.
And that's the hard part because I feel like people always talk about, oh, you know, music's dead, rock is dead.
Yeah.
No, it's there. You just have to sift through so much other stuff to find it.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
It's not
so true.
Something I say quite often on the podcast. Well, you know the one I always say, but another one is at a certain point, like the biggest hurdle is an equality problem with how, you know, technology has advanced and how, like, you know, you do production on it and you have access to a beautiful setup. But even before that, you, like I said, when you guys just started off, you would compose all of it on your own and you kind of figure that out. Yep. It's more of an awareness problem than it is a quality problem. There's a lot of amazing music out there, just people don't know about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what your focus is with social media. Get people to know what you're doing.
And I think it's been hard too because so much of what you hear on the radio and on social media, it's very pristinely produced and it sounds phenomenal. And it makes it a lot harder for, you know, I mean, even just any kind of instrumental band in general to compete with that really polished sound. Because I mean, I feel like for at least us, like, I want some noisy guitars. I want some loud drums.
Totally.
Like, I don't want everything to be
like super overproduced.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
To the ear, subconsciously, it can be really hard. You know, if you're clicking through songs and you hear one that, you know, the production is different, it might just be an automatic skip because your ears are so subconsciously used to hearing that sound. So
it's not even necessarily how do you get it out there, but how do you get it to the people who would appreciate that sound.
Yeah, how to kind of cater
like
into those
niche audience that you're looking to tap into is so difficult to do. But
well, it's a good thing there's a lot of Jack White fans around here.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's a good amount. There are people that like that. Just
we always throw that hashtag Jack White on there just in case. Yeah,
and I mean we've had really good luck with like doing like trying to get on like Spotify curated playlists and stuff. Yeah. And getting like we see that when our songs actually get placed on rock playlists, they get streams. You know, there is traction there. It's just a matter of finding the best way to get it into those ears.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's tough. That's tough.
If you don't mind kind of pivoting to that real quick, since you mentioned you've had good success getting on those playlists, just for some people who maybe don't necessarily know how to approach it or how to get that success? What are you doing to see those results?
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways. We've had luck with even just emailing a bunch of these playlists and requesting. Yeah. The kind of only tricky part of that is you typically have to pay to apply a song to a playlist, so it can get pricey fast. There are services that you can use that basically you give it to them and then they'll pitch it to a bunch of playlists.
Yeah, Push, Groover,
exactly.
all that stuff.
Yeah,
those can be a little tricky because some of them are very suspicious.
I had a client whose whole catalog got removed because he got put on one AI playlist.
Jeez. Exactly, and the bot stream thing, that's real. And when there was a time when we were using something like that, and we literally straight up emailed Spotify and we're like, hey, we're trying this out. We just want to make sure we're not breaking any rules.
We were getting actual streams. We were like, oh my God.
It was the first time we'd seen success, and we were like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But they were like, no bot streams. So we lucked out there. But it's definitely something, if you do it, be very, very careful with it.
I did find, not to get too into the nitty gritty of it, but I'll totally email you this or text you it.
Please.
But it's this great, this guy, sound engineer or whatever, just content creator in the music space, did like a huge study on all of the available playlisting services.
Was it Ari Hirschtan? Was it Ari Hirschtan?
I think so.
Yeah, he's got a great resource for
I
that.
think it might have been.
It ended up being like a full manual. It was like pros and cons for every single one, reputability. Yeah, that's what I used because I was so scared. I'm terrified of bot streams and losing all the progress, and also
because the platforms blame you for it.
But they make it so difficult to access curated playlists unless you go through a third party distributor, and then you go through the wrong one or something gets pawned off to a bot playlist, and all your music is gone. But that goes into the larger conversation of streaming and being an artist.
That's tough.
All the problems.
It's really tough. Yeah. So,
I
mean, speaking of streaming, are you guys doing anything physical? Are you guys putting out CDs or anything like that? Any vinyls or anything like that?
Yet.
CDs are getting big again. It's the new vinyl.
Yeah, that's totally on the agenda. We just literally got through our first merch order ever.
Nice. Congrats.
Navigating selling things, which is like a whole new thing. So it's totally something that goes into that. Yeah. But I'm still figuring out okay, our t-shirts sold. Okay, I want to make a cooler t-shirt this time. Got to figure out what that's going to cost. And,
are you guys buying them all in bulk in advance? Or are you getting pre-orders and ordering? Are you doing drop shipping like a Redbubble or something
literally
like that?
Our other guitarist, Nate's girlfriend, her name is Grace. She's awesome. She does a lot of our photography, and her mom also does
phenomenal
prints for shirts. So
good to know people.
We went through her,
Perfect.
and she we just paid a bulk rate. I forget how many shirts we ordered.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But for any bands looking to do merch, I would recommend going through someone first, and just doing a small sample because it's just it costs a lot of money to go through.
We had done a couple other. We did a couple other designs, where we only did 5 or 10 shirts. And, I feel like kind of doing that, and then for the big batch that we did, we had a really good design in place that we were all happy with, and it kind of just took a little bit of trial and error. But it's tough with the merch stuff. It's kind of just something that we take to all of our shows, and it's been really helpful, and it's been the investment has paid itself back.
Yeah, that's our project for this year. Is we've finally nailed down our stage presence and everything in the live set. Now it's nailing down the merch booth. I always complain about it. We'll show up to the venue and all the other bands will have a beautiful merch booth set up. We got a folding table with a cardboard box on it. Geez,
that's where it starts.
We need to upgrade the branding a little bit, but we're getting there.
I'm definitely interested in doing the physical thing, and I think if anything, CDs would be a great place to start because not only is it way cheaper than pressing vinyl, but I feel like for our age demographic, our audience, CDs kind of have a little bit more nostalgia because we grew up with them.
People love the whole camcorder CD thing right now.
I was curious for a while whether it was going to be cassette or CD that got big again, and it looks like CD's been growing.
CD's winning.
I think both though.
They both have been. Cassette's I feel like cassette's been riding the wave for the last 5-10 years.
Depends on what
CD
you're trying
is
to sell
spiking
for.
again.
I feel like it's a lot easier to find a CD player than it is a cassette
player.
player.
I go to Salvation Army now and find 20.
Right.
But get one on Amazon for probably $25-$30.
Some people still have them in their cars.
Yeah, it's awesome. They should bring that back.
They
should bring that back.
CD player.
I should CD player.
They should.
It was way cooler.
Yeah, those are awesome. I still have one in my car.
Probably stop a lot of texting or Spotify.
And you know, they had the ones you could put like 8 discs in there at once. It was sick.
Oh, dude, I have a 6 changer in mine.
There you go.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Novelty.
The one still working. The one thing on your car. The one thing on the escape that's not broken.
For now.
It's like the Pokemon card sized like big binders that you flip through.
Those are awesome.
Yeah.
Those are killer,
Dude,
man.
I just moved and emptied all my boxes from when I moved years ago, and I found my big box full of CDs, and I'm like,
oh my gosh, that's awesome.
That's killer.
It's a time capsule, man.
It's great.
It
totally is.
It is. So how often are you guys like playing out then? Like I know you guys said you guys have a tough schedule and tough, you know, coordination.
We play, we like to think pretty often.
We're going to take a quick pause from the podcast to play a short 30-second snippet of one of this band's songs. If you like what you hear, please go in the description and click on the link to check them out further on Spotify or Apple Music and support independent music.
I mean, this is going to end up being like a constructive podcast for like advice for other people in our exact
that's okay.
position,
Wherever it goes.
We started off playing like every single show we got emailed, every single venue. I literally
2-3 a
like
month.
Wow.
just emailed like 64 venues in the area, the same email, like we want to play at this time, whatever. Got like 3 back. So we started doing that, meeting other people, getting on their bills. We would take shows like every week.
Let's take a pause that real quick.
Nights, like,
we were having a hard time getting people to come back to the shows that way. So we've cut down to like, we try and do 1 show monthly. Sometimes we do like bi-monthly. And then that way, if a show comes up that's like, you know, in proximity to one we have booked and it's like a total non-negotiable, got to take this show. Like, oh, great opportunity. Like we feel a little better about taking it, but that's helped with our turnout a ton.
Yeah, it's also been like, we tried to make every show kind of like an event for something. We'll do like, you know, we did Halloween shows, New Year's shows, song release, that kind of thing. That way it kind of creates another reason for people to come. Like for Halloween, we probably our best turnout and in my opinion, funnest show. But one of the things we did was a costume contest, and the winner would get, you know, merch from every band. We did like a little gift basket with all of our merches. So doing little things like that to kind of help engage the community a little bit more in it and making it more of, you know, it's not just 3 bands playing on a Tuesday.
You have no idea how happy. You have no idea how happy I am to hear you say that, because that's something that we've said.
We just said that at like 11:30 this morning and during one of our episodes, dude. Like seriously,
you gotta make everything an event.
And also that makes it easier to make promotion for it, because now it's an event. It's not just a show.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And when you're sharing the ticket with other bands, like they can help promote it as like, and it's an event. It's not just a show.
That's been a huge help for us. I think that's like totally changed the way our shows have gone. And like also, like we're at a point now, we've been playing like around this Detroit greater area scene for like a year. We know which venues we pull good at, like, so we're kind of sticking to those. Like we love Ziggy's and Ipsy, little venue, but it's so much fun. Like really artist
always
friendly.
pack that place, man.
That's awesome.
Always packed.
That's so cool.
Like, we're playing like the Pig in like 2 weeks.
Oh,
that's
nice.
the first time, but that's another one. But, like we love Sanctuary. Like it's good to know locally like where you do the best. And then for us, I know like we'll probably get into this more later, but our next hugest goal is like regional. Like,
I was gonna say
tour,
tour,
Chicago, Grand Rapids, like
I
tour
think a
is
little
like
regional tour.
There's good stuff in Ohio.
Ohio too. Yeah,
Toledo has a pretty big scene.
Tour is just tough. A tough
it's
thought, because like we were just talking with like another band we're cool with that just funded their own tour and stuff, and it wasn't terribly expensive. Like, you know, they broke it down how they did it. They went through an agent and stuff to help them book, and that's great. And we would love to do that, but like Colin said earlier, it's like, oh my God, I'm in grad school, I'm working full time, and like I can't afford to take off a week. So we're trying to do just like maybe 1 show or like 1 night or 2 nights.
Totally.
Drive down to Chicago, play, drive to Columbus and play, something like that. So if anyone sees this that's looking for an opening.
No, and I think it was really fun too. Like last summer we did 3 shows back to back to back, 3 nights in a row.
Oh, cool.
And it kind of had that like not really tour feel, because obviously we're not all crammed in a van together. But it was kind of that idea of like getting in the routine of playing music every single day. It was fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was
And
great.
I really liked it.
enjoyed
And
that.
yeah, I mean, I think too, like speaking on the show frequency and that kind of thing, like I think it was a really good thing that when we first started, we were taking anything we could get and, you know, playing those Tuesday night gigs, because that helped us build chemistry on stage. It helped us make connections with other bands. Like, it definitely isn't something that I would change. I like where we're at with the frequency now, but it's important when you're first starting to take anything you can get, even if it's a birthday party at a nursing home. A gig is a gig.
Well, we just talked about the awareness problem.
Yeah.
So like when you're trying to play live, I want to take a step back, and you said you emailed like 60 plus venues and 3 got back to you. So like it takes effort to get the ball rolling. And right, you got to take them. And once you do, okay, well now they know you. And oh, like this other venue, it's like, oh yeah, we played this show, we had these many people. Now like you have something to send out. Okay, here's us at a show. Here's our turnout. We can do that here.
I'm honestly convinced that all of these promoters, they have like a group chat. It seems like
they
probably do, because you know, when
studios have group chats.
When it got to the point where we were playing more frequently, and you know, we were repeat playing a couple of venues, then that's like when we started getting offers from other venues that we had reached out to like a year ago and never heard anything from. So I don't know how that all works, but it definitely seems like there's a connection with just getting out there and doing it. You're not going to be able to go sell out the Fillmore your first night out. Like, it's just not.
No.
Yeah.
But then once
if you're really lucky. But
but then once you did get out there, you took it back to like not oversaturate the local scene.
Exactly.
Because you don't want everyone to be like, they're playing next Tuesday, I'll just go see them instead of seeing them tonight. So
that right there,
exactly, Like, they're only playing once a month. They're playing this day. I need to go see them versus, I'll just hit them up next week.
Yeah.
It's not that there's anything wrong with playing on like weeknights either. Like I'm sure we'll play another weeknight show at some point within the year, I'm sure. But it's like, you know, inherently it is a fact that it is harder to get people out to a bar to have drinks and stay out late on a work night or something.
Well, I feel like especially too, you know, it's not like we're playing in Nashville or Austin or LA where there's a very, very active nightlife that's centered around music. Like, you know, Detroit and that whole area, don't get me wrong, there's some great nightlife down there. But I feel like with this area, you kind of have to pick and choose when you think would be a good time to actually bring a draw of a bunch of people.
Yeah.
For certain.
Yeah. I mean, I think it just goes to show too, like you're playing these low stakes shows right at first, and you're learning how the entire process works, whether it's through sound check, load in, whatever you need to bring. If you have, do you have like stage plots or anything that you guys usually kind of like?
No, we kind of have like a mental. I feel like we subconsciously set up our stage the same way every time.
Gotcha.
We've never once played a show where there's that much like forethought into into like the stage setup. Or anything.
But at the time came, you know what to do. You know, so it's like you know when you get into like those like, hey, this is a really big show. We don't want to we want to make this as seamless as possible. We want to be invited back. That's what it's always about, right? And it's like, oh yeah, we can do this, no problem. Because we've done this a million times before. We've practiced this with other shows, and other things have gone wrong at those shows, but now we know how to fix that and what we need to do better. So I think that just goes to show that you have to get out there and play. You have to do it.
Yeah,
that's
I mean, for sure.
That's exactly what you said.
We have a pretty pretty simple rig. We're not doing anything crazy. It would be nice to get some in-ear monitoring systems put together, but you know, I feel like stage setup wise, like we always stand where we stand, like when we practice together, which is good, because when we're practicing, that's when we're looking at each other for cues and stuff, and we're trying to build like the mental bookmarks in a song. And so when we get to live and you know the adrenaline's going and we're focused on putting on a show, we don't have to worry about those little cues and changes as much, because we're just already used to being there.
That's fuck, I forgot what I was going to say. Damn it. I was going to follow up with something with that.
He was too engrossed in what you were saying.
Yeah, it's gone now.
Oh, he was too knowledgeable.
Yeah, right.
Too wise.
For practicing, where do you guys practice? How do you practice?
We got very lucky.
We practice in a little, I'm not going to air out the name of it. I don't think anyone's going to come banging the door now, but maybe like someday they would. I don't know.
Yeah,
but our bassist, his stepdad has like it's like a half warehouse
Oh, sick.
Yeah, construction company out of there.
It's just
Nice.
like contractor's warehouse, but
Hell yeah.
you know, him and his buddies jam. So we've been jamming there since like high school.
It's
That's
nice, man.
perfect.
You show up, there's already amps, there's already PAs, there's already a drum kit.
That's so
like,
nice.
Walk in with
So
your
nice.
stuff and play. I mean, we
Yeah.
practice at like 9:30 on like Monday nights.
That's
too,
awesome.
So
That's
it's nice
awesome.
to avoid dragging a ton of gear to practice. 'Cause-
And you don't have to worry about, waking the neighbors, anything
yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
that's true.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
It is
yeah.
super convenient.
Yeah, it sounds like it is. So yeah, I mean, would you guys practice with in-ears in them? If you got an in-ear setup, would that
You'd
be the
have
next
to,
step?
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I
That's
mean, I
another thing
think
we're gonna do soon. I think.
Yeah.
I would
hopefully.
even say that I would rather use in-ears for practicing only first to not only figure out the system and the ins and outs, but I feel like it's just such a great practice tool. And especially if you're practicing in an environment, it's a warehouse. The sound isn't phenomenal. It's a little bit boomy in there. Yeah. It can be harder to hear specific details of timing and things like that because everything kind of just turns into a soup of sound. Like, so I feel like in-ears, even if we're not putting together a travel rig and taking it to venues with us, even if we have like a cheap setup for just practice, I think something like that can go a really long way.
Definitely. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a set list that you guys play through at practice, or is it just like whatever you guys choose?
Usually we conclude one show, and then at the next practice we'll already know when our next show is.
Gotcha.
Typically, so we'll set the set list for that.
Nice.
Usually we'll sub out a few songs, and then slowly we'll start practicing through it. But
Right on.
that's pretty much like we have a pretty basic practice schedule. You know, we play like
Nice.
each song twice.
Oh, cool. Right on.
Something like that. And then we'll
fix
ramp up a
fixes
little more
needed.
closer to the show and focus
Totally.
on the ones that are rusty. And that's traditionally been, we've very rarely do we get on stage and feel unprepared.
Yeah.
It's very easy to tell when you're not prepared. because
Yes, it is.
It's also easy to hear.
Yeah,
totally.
Plenty of
we
those.
definitely need to plan the set list a bit in advance because we use a lot of different tunings. So trying to structure the changes and how the kind of set is going to flow. That's been a big part of kind of dictating what we play and when. But I mean, even still within that, generally, if we're playing 3 songs in a row that are in C sharp, they're probably going to be kind of the same vibe. They're probably going to be pretty heavy. So
Yeah. So when are you
time to-
busting out the baritones?
soon, man.
Yeah?
I want to get into some 7-string territory.
Drop
dude,
E.
please.
Yeah, because the
Years
one
up
demo
there.
we're working on, I think that's A. Another one is B flat. So
You're getting there.
We are
You're getting
I'm
there.
telling you, every project
Yeah,
we're
dude.
creeping closer to death metal.
Yeah, I love it, dude.
I think
love it.
next song I'm just gonna put like a pitch shifter just on the master bus.
perfect.
Just pull it down. Few intervals.
It's great, dude.
Slowed and reverbed.
Yeah, just play it quick and record a tape and then slow it down.
There you go. Yeah. Love it, dude. Love
So
it.
we got to ask a couple of questions. The last couple have been kind of more specific and detail oriented. Let's just take a little bit of a step back. As we kind of we've been talking for a while now and I really want to appreciate your time. But taking a step back, what's kind of a challenge that you're approaching now? That's like something you're tackling at the moment or something you're about to tackle as you guys move on.
Here's a good one. We're at a space right now where we're trying to figure out if we want to play covers or not, which is an interesting conversation because we love playing covers. We're down right now to playing one cover. Very conservative, just like one in the set for engagement and to make people excited if they like the song. And because it transitions really well with some of our new music, but that's besides the point. But yeah, we finally got to a point where we're like, ooh, maybe we don't want to play 3 covers in a set. We want to play like all originals because we're starting to get more people showing up to our shows and stuff like to actually see us play. And so like kind of switching from that to that has been a very welcome change.
That
because
is an
I
interesting
love
dilemma,
playing
yeah.
originals,
Yeah, like playing covers is great, especially we played some shows where it's the people that are going to be in the area, they're not there specifically to see the bands. Like we played some we're kind of just in the background. So playing covers is a great way to kind of get like the passerbys, like the people that are just there casually, not there to see you specifically. But like Aidan was saying, now that it's getting to a point where we're starting to see more people come out specifically to see us and for our shows, it's cool to kind of pull that back. I don't.
So
really
you've done shows where you have pulled it back.
Oh, totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen any sort of difference in engagement?
Not really.
Not really,
Yeah,
honestly. I
we-
think like kind of it seems like we're working on a new project right now, and like Colin was saying, it's getting heavier. Like we're to the point now where we're screaming and doing like screaming breakdowns and things like that. It's really cool and fun. Also, like weird to pivot from like some of our in our set, like our funkier old stuff to that. So we kind of backstack it at the end.
Yeah.
But seems like the new heavier music has been kind of like the fan favorite at our shows.
I mean,
There's a
most
strong
engaging.
scene around here.
It's making a comeback too on
Totally.
TikTok and everything.
Yeah, it's kind of becoming cool
back.
again,
It
you know,
is.
metal.
Yeah, especially like shoegaze, Deftones. Obviously,
Yeah.
they're leading the way with that. 100%.
Yeah.
That is a trend.
Their
that's
show
coming
was
back.
great.
Yeah, I bet.
I feel like a lot of bands kind of like age out of putting on.
Yeah,
not to
dude.
say they're old or anything. They're not like that old.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
They put on.
They put on a great show.
put
I
a show
got,
down.
yeah,
They
I got to meet him when I was at 80 on X back at the way back in
Really?
the day. And
Oh,
they put
cool. I never knew
They put
that.
on such a cool show, dude.
Yeah,
And they're really
yeah.
nice guys too.
Yeah,
they're quiet, but they're nice guys, you know. And that's the kind of vibe I get from the band. You know, they're maybe quieter dudes, but like
They get up there, and
dude, they get up there and
yeah.
they rip, man. They
We're just
sound
really
so
like,
cool.
for me at least, not to go down, this wormhole about like talking about stage presence and stuff, but like I'm so I'm a naturally introverted person. I think at least when it comes to public speaking, I've always been good at it, but this last year has been like Aidan learned how to like run around and jump on stage and move, and it's
Yeah.
been like
And even like communicating with
Yeah.
venues and promoters and
Yeah.
kind of doing like the PR stuff too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But it's just been great to
Yeah.
like learn and at least get inspiration from like other shows I'm watching to like actually like get up there and bring that like insane
Yeah.
energy
Yeah.
on stage, which is super helpful with engagement. I think like once I got out of my own head and stopped like standing at the mic stand like a robot.
Yeah, totally.
Like I won't use a mic stand anymore because I
Oh,
know if I
nice.
do, I'll stand there and
Yeah.
stand at it. So I
Get rid
just
of the
push it
crutch,
off to the
right?
side.
That's a good hurdle. You notice, like, I need to get rid of this because it's
Yeah,
actually
honestly.
an obstacle. It's
Yeah.
it's a crutch.
It's like the
not
tricycle
a,
wheels.
Yeah.
I take them
That's cool.
off when I get up.
Take
there.
them off.
That's
and
really
push.
cool.
We're going to once again take a quick pause to play a quick 30 seconds from one of the songs in this artist's catalog. If you're still listening to this interview, that means you probably enjoy the artist as a person. And if you do, I'm assuming you're really like their music. So go in the description, click on the link, and once again, support independent music. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think for me and for the band, like as far as like, physical things about what we're making goes, I would say the biggest challenge has just been, we're stepping into a new sound. On gear wise to on stage, we've moved some things around and we're using some different equipment. So dialing in the sound both live and then when we get in the studio, like, I very much love like the modern metal production style and the just really punchy, really polished sound. And so that the kind of challenge, at least for me, doing most of the mixing and stuff for this project has just been to kind of find the happy medium between that sound and what I think our sound is, kind of trying to bridge the gap. But it's been really cool to kind of see the progression both studio and live, and the album that we did and pretty much everything that we put out up to this point has been what's teaching me how to mix, and it's been a really helpful tool.
Yeah.
And I feel like now I'm at a point where I know how I want things to sound, and I just need to kind of do the little things to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's super cool.
As you learn more about like the sound and learn more to mix, I'm assuming that you've also learned a lot about the pre-production side of it too.
Totally. And it's made us put a lot more focus into the pre-production because, I feel like it's so easy these days to get caught in, we'll fix it in the mix. Because there's so many great plugins and tools out there to do just that. But, from being in larger studios and stuff, I've really seen the importance of getting good source material. And, that's performance, that's tone, that's song structure. That's been something we've been putting a lot more focus into because, the last couple of songs we put out, we put more focus into that and kind of planned a little bit more in advance, and it really worked. So
even aside from a songwriting and performance aspect of performing a song before taking it to the studio, technically you would say that's helped you a lot as well.
Totally.
Just like actually, okay, now we know the energy of the song.
Yeah.
Now let's repeat that energy in the studio versus, I gotta get this right. I gotta be technical about it. It's like-
Exactly. Like we know how it's supposed to feel when
Yeah.
we're in the moment,
Yeah.
So trying to just capture that in a studio environment the live play has definitely helped with that.
for sure.
Live is just so useful. So bedroom production, bedroom pop, like, doing stuff at home, doing it yourself is fantastic. It's great. But you before you lay it down, it's not a substitute. You got to play.
Get out there, do some open mic nights. Even if you're a single, singer-songwriter, you don't have a band, just go out there and play.
Yeah, it's so humbling in the best way. It'll help you get your ego in check, but also will help you figure out what you need to improve on. Like for me, I'm like self-taught vocalist. Like everything I write, everything I do is like self-taught.
Yeah.
So like hearing myself live, like next day when I listen to the videos and stuff, that is a huge help. Like I wouldn't get that improvement or that self-critique from just hearing a completed mix in which my vocals are, cleaned up by Colin, sound better. And I kind of, sometimes you need to hear your mistakes and you can only really do that live, I feel like.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, even bridging off that too, I think because when we were first starting, we were both learning together and, I didn't know how to make everything sound perfect. Like, I feel like during the recording process, we learned a lot about like each of our respective things, because hearing those takes raw, it tells you where you need to change, and it also is telling me, maybe I should try this production wise, that kind of thing.
So do you record your live performances then so you can review them?
No, we haven't, but I'm just talking about like I'll get videos sent to me.
Gotcha. So if someone
records kind of phone videos, like,
exactly.
I always have to turn it up and listen. Like, how do we sound in this small clip? Like, sometimes like a dying horse, and sometimes
I feel
really good.
Yeah, that's cool.
Perfect.
Yeah. Nice.
Very cool.
All right. Well, I mean, I think we've been going for about 45 minutes.
I have a question.
At this point. Oh, never mind.
Sure. Yeah. Go for it. Sure.
Any chicken Alfredo or Bosco sticks?
No Alfredo anymore. No Bosco. No Alfredo. No Bosco.
You told me he was going to bring that up.
No more.
I had to ask.
No.
I had to ask.
Yeah, to fit that.
Not stocked currently.
No, none?
No, not stocked.
Really? Damn, that's crazy.
I don't think I've taken a bite of chicken Alfredo since then. Not because of that, but I actually just don't think
That's actually hilarious. That's actually hilarious.
I can't recall one time I've eaten it or ordered it since then. Yeah,
oh my god!
No major messes. I've done a lot of adulting.
Yeah, you want to tell the story real quick?
It's not a great story.
It was just like a moment in time.
19. It was like way too drunk, like early in college, hadn't like really dabbled in alcohol before. Like super like burnt my Bosco sticks till like I just came home, I was like hungry and way too drunk to try and cook anything. So I made Bosco sticks and they came out and they were like rock hard.
And then the cheese is all like disintegrated because it's like overcooked.
There's no cheese in it. It was just like a rock hard Bosco stick. And then I opted to eat like that like Meyer frozen fettuccine. Like the ones they come in like a little paper bowl. I just something I don't know, maybe intentional, maybe not. It ended up like all over like the wall and floor. And like for all the food I made, I ate none of it. And I think we had a session the next day.
We did because you showed us the picture.
I just looked terrible.
It's just like a bowl stuck to the wall, white sauce is streaming down.
So now that you guys are doing some screaming in your song, are you thinking of that moment to get to let it out?
Channeling my rage.
The rage from the Fallen Alfredo.
Yeah,
the Fallen Alfredo.
You can really say anything in metal too.
Like,
I could totally scream that.
Get away with it.
Alfredo.
Yeah.
Well, no, like during practice, he'll change the lyrics around just to like see if we're listening, and
that's hilarious.
How many times do they catch it?
Rarely.
Wow.
Sometimes. Rarely.
It's usually only when he makes himself laugh from changing the lyrics, and they're like, "Oh, what is this guy doing?"
Something happened here.
Yeah.
Because like I'm just curious. Like sometimes like I want to know if everyone can actually hear me at all, or if everyone's just pretending. Like
right. That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh man, yeah. So I guess like where this takes us next, guys, is what's coming up next for you guys. What do you guys want our audience to know? Anything cool going on? Anything where you want to point to?
Yeah.
Where we can find more about you?
Yeah. There's your camera there. There's the other camera there. Whichever one you want to look at and start plugging.
Cool. Yeah, we're playing on April 25th. I don't know if this will be out by then or afterward, whatever. If you see this before then, we're playing on April 25th at Blind Pig. That should be sweet. Doors are 9 p.m. Tickets online on our website. You can find us on Instagram. Let me make sure I got that spelling down correctly. Perfectstrangersdet because Perfect Strangers is taken. So
we'll have a link in the description.
Yeah, we will have a link.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, stay tuned. Should have some more music out. We're thinking, EP.
Yeah.
So I'd say probably in the next 6 months or so, we'll have a nice new batch of music out. So
Beautiful.
Come catch a show. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great to see you guys, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. This was a lot of
thanks
fun.
for having us.
You guys come catch a show as well.
Yeah, that'd be fun, man. That'd be fun. Yeah, especially if you're going to be at the Blind Pig. I love the Blind Pig.
Yeah,
man.
it's a
I
great
love the
venue.
Blind
Come
Pig,
through.
man. When is it? When's the Blind Pig?
April 25th, Friday night.
Right on, man.
Yep, coming
Right
up
on.
pretty soon. Then I think our next one up is in July, maybe Saturday in July.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll fill a couple in
But there
between.
will be
But
Yeah.
Yeah, they always
Right on,
appear.
Just follow them on Instagram. They'll like update a post.
Yeah,
and
we'll
whatnot.
see you there.
But even just check it out to see the kind of stuff that you've been making, because it is really unique. It's got a good
That's also
vibe
a
to
great
it.
place to find like beyond what we talked about today. Just like see what our shows look like. See what, there's a lot of stuff on there. So years of content. We got a cameo from Dean Norris.
I love that, dude.
That's pretty
I'm a huge Breaking Bad
That
fan.
stuff
I
is
thought that was
awesome.
awesome,
Yeah.
man.
I really thought that was going to be the video that propelled us to superstardom, man. Like for a while, I was pretty.
I sent it
convinced.
to a couple people. If that makes you feel any better.
It did well, but I was like, "This is the one. This is going to go so viral."
How much did that cost?
$250.
It's not actually too bad.
Worth it? No, not terrible. Totally worth it for the memories too.
Yeah.
I will never delete it.
Yeah.
And also, like, I'll probably watch it when I'm like 50.
Dude,
Show
that-
my
it was-
grandkids.
he's
it was just
hilarious.
fun, like
Yeah.
putting that whole like ad together, because we did like the mock newscaster thing, and so like I actually really enjoyed making content, and I want us to be able to do more of that. It's, once again, come back to not having enough time in the day to get everything done. But
we're trying to be more funny and relatable. Man.
It's looking
tough,
good though.
we're
It
getting
really
there,
is looking good. From an outside perspective, it looks really good.
None of us are sketch comedians, so it's like unbelievably awkward when we try. Like, none of us are built for sketch comedy. So,
but that's also part of the charm.
awkward.
That is the charm.
the awkward charm.
Yeah.
We're learning.
Is it intentional? I can't tell.
It's not intentional. It's not.
That's a peek behind the curtain.
We will not be pursuing a career in acting.
It's just hilarious though. I love it, dude. I love it. Do you guys own your domain?
No.
Oh, okay, just making sure. I'll check in about that.
Thanks.
Man, towards the end, you're really laying into us.
It's an important part of the interview. The people want to know. Does
The people
Perfect
want to
Strangers
know.
own
Yeah,
domain?
we'll pedal back
No,
to
we
that
do
next
not own
time,
the rights to Perfect Strangers. On that topic, and I know they won't watch this ever, there is a UK Perfect Strangers. So I tried really hard to banter with them a few times. I was like, when are we going to fight for the name and stuff?
They don't.
I'm
They
saying
they didn't respond. They didn't think it was funny at all. I was like, man,
Might start
fuck
the next
you. Like,
American
I thought that was
Revolution.
hilarious.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, that's funny. Look, think about the content we could have made. Like,
Right.
a little video or something.
we put together a show, like we split the difference of where we're both at and pick a show right there.
in the Atlantic Ocean.
UK versus America Perfect Strangers
Greenland, there we
battle
go.
or something.
Show on the
dude.
pond.
That would've been
Maybe we
awesome,
know that
but- Yeah, maybe we'll try. Like, I believe there's a Canadian Perfect Strangers as well. So
Okay.
maybe
Oh
we'll
wow,
form a
this is
union.
gonna be like a world war.
all the
a world
Infinity
war or a
Stones.
beautiful utopia.
Either one, it could go either way real quickly. Yeah.
Time will tell.
Yeah. Get all the perfect strangers together so we become perfect acquaintances.
Yeah,
You guys can use that.
that'll be
You
our
have
new
permission.
That's genius. We'll form a mega band.
Is that the name of
Perfect
Is that what
acquaintances.
you guys call your fans? The perfect acquaintances.
No. Maybe we will now, though.
Hello, fellow acquaintances.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, final time. Give our audience one more thing. We just did a whole Midwest goodbye. We were finishing out. Where can
that's so true.
where can they
Midwest.
find you at? And then we'll wrap it up. So one more time for the
Find us
audience.
on Spotify, Apple Music, Perfect Strangers, Instagram, PRF.
Yeah,
CCC.
just search Perfect
Yeah.
Strangers on Instagram. You'll see us pop up. Only one letter's
Do you guys have a link tree or something?
Yep, yeah.
Send
link
that
tree
to
to
me.
our
I mean, we
website.
actually,
Yep.
the website is linked directly from our
Perfect.
Instagram.
Send
so hop
that
on there.
to Brandon or me, and we'll put it in.
Will do, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us again.
Yeah, no, thanks for
Appreciate
coming
being
out,
here,
guys.
yeah.
This was a
Could
lot of
talk
fun.
for another 4 hours.
No, seriously. We didn't even scratch the
People have
surface of this,
lives.
which is great. But
We'll
yeah,
have to have you back
we'll
on.
have to, yeah, exactly. Because we
cool.
plan on
Always
doing
down,
some
yeah.
more. So
I'd be happy to
we'll
come
be
back,
happy
so.
to have you guys back, man. It was a lot of fun. Thanks
Yeah,
for coming out,
sweet.
you guys.
Maybe when we finish up our project, we'll come talk about it.
Oh,
or
that'd be
something.
awesome.
Cool.
That'd be
Sure.
awesome.
Yeah,
That sounds like a
definitely.
plan. We'll
Cool.
just do it. Yep.
Yeah.
Sweet.
It's like a plan.
So that's how to learn out and check more about these guys. If you want to hear Brandon and I talk about stuff, you can listen to Music Maker's Cookbook, the podcast there.
Love it.
Yeah.
And with all that being said, from our kitchen to yours.
Oh, you're swapping because I made you the intro. I got the outro
You're
now.
damn right.
Bon appetit.
Yeah.